Hello and welcome to Dance Chat with Aubre Hill. I am your host, and it is my great pleasure to be diving into a wide range of differing interviews as we look at the living history of our dance form, inspirations, different concepts around teaching, around changes in our dance community, and so much more. I do thank you so much for tuning in and hope you enjoy.
Helena Vlahos is a precise and energetic performer and instructor with a wealth of knowledge to share. She teaches improvisation and choreography, zills, veil, cane, arms, hip articulation, upper body, belly work, including quarters and dollars, and rhythms with zills. Helena is a legendary belly dancer who is well known for her 9-quarter and dollar bill act, of which she is in the Guinness Book of World Records for unique abdominal dexterity. She began her dance career in Los Angeles in the mid-1960s. She moved to Texas in 1971, where she was asked to perform in various Greek nightclubs. While there, she ran and operated a variety of belly dance schools. Helena moved back to Los Angeles in 1978 as she was invited to share her unique acts and dancing on a variety of differing television shows, including AM Los Angeles, That's Incredible, Spectacular World of Guinness Records, and many more. She's been the recipient of MECTA's Arizona Lifetime Achievement Award and has been nominated for MECTA's Favorite Cabaret Oriental Dancer. She's graced magazine covers, and she is on the executive panel of judges for Tonya and Atlantis' Belly Dancer of the Universe competition. She's mentored numerous dancers who've gone on to win titles, and she is beloved by her dance community. Please welcome Helena Vlahos.
I guess when I first started in 1964, at the age of 16, to actually dance in clubs, although I started learning at 15. This is in Hollywood. We didn't have internet. We didn't have all the resources available to us now. And as far as I was concerned in Hollywood, we did belly dance. We didn't have all these different styles. Yes, dancers had different styles. And each dancer had a unique way of dancing. And we never, those of us who were ethical, would never want to copy their essence. The essence is the worst thing to try and copy. Dance moves, dance things like that. Hey, they're international. You know, you can't say, except for my coin thing, of course, but you can't say, hey, that's my move. Who says that's your move? Are you thousands of years old, or what are you that it's your move? It's not your move. Maybe the way you do it and the way you put it together may be your stylization, but it's definitely not your move. You know how many times I've seen that I have done a certain combination of moves and I think it's mine. Then I see someone doing it. I go, oh yeah, so much for mine, you know, because you see it out there. It's for everyone. It's not just mine.
Oh, I love the idea of essence. We're going to have to come back to that.
Yes.
So just as that one, I am going to wait with bated breath for your life story to be this epic Hollywood film, because your life story is an epic Hollywood film, starting from being born on the Greek island of Hydra to immigrating to New York with your family by a ship across the Atlantic, and then coming to Los Angeles, and then coming into dance. I mean, I think you are an epic story in this amazing type of way. And what was the scene like as you were coming into, especially the Southern California scene? That time period, there were a growing plethora of nightclubs and of Greek restaurants, and there was more of this kind of ethnic neighborhood concept around different parts of the city. I don't know if you'd like to spend some time kind of.
Well, and at that time, remember, I was only 15, 16, so I don't consider myself a smart person, and I definitely was not, especially then, very smart as far as anything goes. I thought like a selfish teenager, only of myself. I was, it's really hard to know how I came about even to dance. I guess any Greek restaurant or something, we had the Greeks do what is called the tiftateli. Tiftateli is kind of what you see the ethnic people from the Middle Eastern countries when they get up and dance. I call it club dancing. It's not professional, but they sure do move their hips. They move, all their parts, but definitely it's not a professional way, like a staged version. So Ciftatelli is kind of like that, having fun, moving around. Mostly women did this mostly. Greek guys don't really do that. They may clap for you, they'll get down on their knees, look at you and admire you, and, while you're moving around. So that's how I kind of got involved with that. But being very young, of course, I wasn't in that scene till my distant relative, Fofo Di Milo, who owned, I think she and her husband were the first owners of a place called the Greek Village on Hollywood Boulevard. And she liked the way I moved, and said, you know what? I'll teach you how to dance, but I'm opening a little studio on Yucca Street in Hollywood. And you help me answer the phones. And when I teach you some things, you help me with my other students. And that's how I really got started. She was more my mentor. She was not per se a belly dancer. She was an entertainer of various things. She'd sing a little, she'd play the tambourine, finger cymbals. She knew how to belly roll and flutter and the basic things in belly dance, but I don't think she ever went with a costume. She would just be how you see old photos and they're all sitting on the stage, and one is playing a deaf, the other one is zilling, the other one, then they get up and sing, they'll get up and dance a little, kind of that atmosphere. So she was a mentor and used to take me to all the clubs of the time and show me, this dancer, you see her? See how she's always flat-footed, she never comes up? That's not good. Or see that one, how well she's doing. You see how her posture is great. So I saw visuals of what is a no, what is a yes. And of course, I had my own 15-year-old opinions. And it's sad when you're that young because you don't have an understanding of certain dancers and things they do. So even if I saw a dancer from the Middle East, I usually didn't like them because their stylization was a little harsher. You know how they would do things like this, very stuck almost. So I didn't see a lot of what we were used to, all the really gooey moves that I used to like. And so I feel that I cheated myself for not knowing enough to appreciate. I even saw Maya Medwa when I had first started dancing at the Fez. And I didn't appreciate her because of that type of movement. And she was beautiful, but I was thinking, ooh, that's kind of different there. So we did have, at least we were able to see such things, even if I, as a young dancer, didn't appreciate it as much as I should have. Anyway, but that was my learning experience through all the clubs, and my mentor, Fofo Di Milo, through her eyes, I saw what was going on. And we had, as I told you before, dancers with their own essence or their own stylizations. And an essence to me is like when you do a certain something that's yours, and dancers copy that. But nowadays, because of how different things are, we pay to learn, and even the essence, they teach you the essence. But I still think you should get your own essence. Don't copy that thing that makes that, like Dina, for instance. She's got the thing, what I call, do you know what the Greek zebekiko is? The guys that dance like that. She does this thing, right? That's Dina essence. You don't get it. Ansuya has this thing that she does. That's her essence, don't copy it. In belly dancing, that's really not a thing that we do. We would more or less hold that way. But that's Ansuya, and that's her right, because she's part Indian anyway, from her dad was, and she does that type of dancing, and it's her right to do it. That's my opinion. And we don't copy that particular thing. We copy movements and make it into our own way of doing things. So everyone had something different, and that's Fatim once, somebody called her from Spectacular World of Guinea Records, and they wanted someone else to be able to do it. And they called her and Aisha Ali, and they told them, you know what? That's Helena's thing. This is people from back then, they have that respect for, like Fatim does her own version of that. That's Fatim's, so be aware that's Fatim's. And that's what we did back then, which was nice. Beautiful stages, high stages with the musicians. That's when I started falling in love with the dance. I didn't before. My teacher used to say, "Do you love the dance?" I would go, "Yeah, you gotta love the dance. Do you love it?" But I didn't know if I did. So I kind of half-heartedly said, yes. And then, but when she took me around to all these clubs and the atmosphere, like the Fez and there was an Egyptian Gardens there were all the different little clubs. I felt like I was in a dreamland, like in a movie setting in this. I don't know how it really got. Anyway, it was just so heartfelt for me. And I loved it then. I loved it. Yes, I could say, I love this dance.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really interesting to think about how it's in our community, we used to really celebrate the uniqueness, right? That every dancer was extremely unique from each other. And as maybe because of education and lots of resources, and I think also, my opinion, but I feel that a lot of American dancers are trying to prove what they know or that they belong in some type of way, so are doing a lot of emulating and copying to kind of prove their education. And so it's changed it into being this very kind of monochromatic
yes.
question instead of really getting into that essence quality.
Can I tell you a story with my sister a few years back? It was one of the events. It may have been a Magda event. I'm not sure what it was. So we're watching the dancers. And this beautiful dancer came on, Barbie doll figure, the most beautiful costumes, gorgeous girl. She's dancing, and then it's like around 5 to 6 minutes each dance. So my sister got busy talking to someone she knew back there. I'm still watching. Now, second dancer goes on. My sister's still talking there. Third dancer comes on. Finally, my sister finishes and she looks, she says, "Is she still on?" Because they were all the same. They were beautiful, beautiful girls with beautiful, perfect bodies, beautiful costumes, but their movements, everything they did was so alike, so alike. And that's what you're saying.
How do we encourage, whether as performers or whether as teachers, for students to explore and really honor and have a sense of curiosity and maybe bravery to explore what is it that they uniquely bring to this dance?
But they don't know yet, you see. That happens in time. Sometimes it takes years to be able to do that. But like you said, they want to be accepted. I don't blame them, especially now. They're telling them, this is a no, this is a yes, no. Don't hold your legs apart. Don't hold your legs too close. Don't do this. Then you see Nagwafua doing, who are you to say, just because you had a teacher that told you hold your legs together, you're going to dance only like this. Maybe my stance isn't that. I don't have a good balance when I keep the legs always together trying to do that. So my thing is having it a little farther apart. Everyone is different in that. That's how we become unique from each other, because we have to work with what we have and I always say that sometimes our bad points are our good points. Dancers, sometimes when I keep seeing such perfect dancers, I want to see one that's not perfect. I want to see one with hips that are off something. I want to see one that does a move kind of weird, but it works for her. I want to see something that's not, because belly dancing is not for a perfect body that you would look for in ballet or jazz or something, when they have to be in a chorus, so they have to look the same. That's their strength, looking the same. But in belly dance, our strength is ourselves and our uniqueness. And one thing I like, one of many things I like what you do, you respect and embody all styles and Middle Eastern things. And you bring and you teach your students all these different things, so they have so many things to choose from. I like that about you, because you're not, no, just do my style, nothing else. You give them the opportunity to have all the different styles. And that's what makes them better dancers, in my opinion. Yeah.
I feel like this dance has been such a great way for people to find their humanity, like their humanness, right? The idea that something that is imperfect, right, not being a default or a defect.
Yes.
But it's like actually like that's an amazing inspiration. And there's some like amazing dance artists that pop into my brain that really what they took as being maybe less desired in other realms of dance, right, really becomes their strength, as you were talking about, like the concept of like classical dance, where you're really working to create this perfected form. And here we really get to be organic and real, but also like larger than life.
Exactly.
So you were mentioning Shaktateli, obviously, as this kind of social dance form that you see a lot within the Greek clubs. Were there certain dances that you saw the Greek dancers do that were different than other?
Look, the way we become Greek belly dancers, in my opinion, is when we dance to Greek music. Greek music that is Middle Eastern sounds. That's what I like, Greek music that has the essence of the Middle Eastern. Sometimes there are some Greek songs that sound more Middle Eastern than some of the pop songs that are Middle Eastern. They sound more Western. Whereas there's one that I have a choreography called Osirtis. Osirtis meaning a deadbolt. The guy wants to deadbolt his house so he's not tempted to let his past lover in because he's trying to forget her. It's not a sad song, really, because it's a freedom song. You want to free yourself from this bad past. Anyway, but they've got zurnas, they've got the whole thing in there going, oh, yeah. You know, so I like those kind of Greek things. But when you're dancing to, you've heard the bouzouki doing, you know, like a taksim, a fast taksim mostly, or even slow. So you have to follow that. So it's mostly for me when I hear, and you follow what they're doing. Long, short, whatever. But you also have to be careful not to, another story from a friend of mine who came from San Antonio to Houston, to visit me when I lived in Phoenix, and there was a beautiful dancer. I loved her dancing, especially when she danced to the Egyptian songs. I could watch her like forever. But we went to a Greek club that had bouzouka, and we said, oh, so-and-so is dancing. And I said, oh, good, we're lucky. She's amazing. So she's dancing to this Greek music. She's all over the place. I don't know where her head is going. I don't know. I said, what happened to her? Here I was bragging about her, and she comes on. My friend looks at me and she says, why is she so frantic? I go, I guess she doesn't know how to dance to Greek music. It's important to know that even though you're hearing those fast pluckings and things like that, you can't be on it like completely. You have to, for instance, sure you're doing but you're not going to go and the head. Please relax. Do your natural thing. She was such a, I'm telling you, beautiful dancer. I loved her dancing till I saw her dancing to Greek anyway. Please don't dance to Greek music anymore. Yeah, so it's definitely, that's what makes it different, the music and how you dance to it. And it's funny, since I was involved with not only Belly Dancer of the Universe, but Greek, two separate Greek events that they had. So when I got to see the ones that were participating as contestants, the Greek dancers, they are lucky enough to have people from Egypt, I think, going there and teaching them. They do very authentic Egyptian style, Middle Eastern style dances. And that's good. I know they have Mohammed Kazafi also that teaches there, where like Mahmoud Reda style with Soraya, that also I think lives in Egypt and Greece, and Maria Traka. Now, Maria Traka is Greek. She does more the artistic fusion, you know, that they're doing now. Such nice people too. But yes, the Greek dancers there, I don't see anyone dancing a Greek style. They're all Egyptian style, or most of them. That's what they do. Or like Maria Traka that does the fusion. So that was interesting for me to see that.
Yeah, well, and I think because of like our obsession with Egyptian styles, we know more of the history of the dance through that direction. Could you give us like a teeny little introduction of how the dance came through Greece?
Okay, first, Chrysanthi, a Greek belly dancer who lives in Germany. I think she married a German gentleman and moved there and goes back and forth to Greece. I got from her, and I had a few years ago, she has the article that explains that, and she okayed it. I made sure to say, is it okay, I'll use your name, and all that, and she's sweet, and she said yes. So I'm not a good historian, but from Anatolia, when Greece had this exchange between the Turks and the Greeks once that war was over, there were lots and lots of Greeks in Constantinople, Istanbul, not Constantinople, it's Istanbul. That was mainly Greek, okay? And a lot of the poor, especially, came to Greece, like, I don't know how many. I have to log through. I have the notes. I have all that to say numbers. And then they had less of the Turks that had to leave. Now, remember that living for years and years and years, we had 400 years Turkish rule in Greece. So, of course, our music, a lot was at that time, a lot of Turkish. So words would be in Greek and in Turkish. So in a way, you kind of get a little, is it Greek? Is it Turkish? Is it together? What is it? So, but living in a country, you get their habits, right? And so now the cultural exchange, the Greeks come, there's no place for them to live. They're poor, they're making, Greece is poor. So it was a burden to the Greeks. So now all these musicians and whoever, they were the lower class and considered very low class. And they worked in these places called skilavika. Skilos is a dog. It's like a dog house, so skilavika, if you ever hear, it's like low class nightclubs, joints, And so that's what Tsiftatelli, so they brought the Tsiftatelli to Greece. They considered it low class. They considered the bouzoukia low class until, what year did they say, 1956, or was it 65, something like that, when a lot of the elite bouzouki players of Greece brought a lot of that music, which was kind of, I think it's called like the blues here. The songs they sang were sad. They can be lively too. They always spoke hashish and I don't know what. That's why they say low class. And anyway, so they brought it up more. And the Tsiftatelli became very popular where everybody was doing it anyway, even if it was not considered elite. But basically, it's like the blues, and everything they sang is Otan chore visto Tsiftatelli, that they're all I wanted to be a pasha, but we say pasa. Greeks don't say, except if you're from certain parts of Greece, sh, j, ch. So if you hear most Greeks from there, they'll say siskaba. If your name is Jerry, they'll call you Zeri, and so on and so forth. And when they came to the Greeks, of course, a lot of them migrated to the United States, worked as dishwashers and whatnot. They were hard workers, where they started owning their own restaurants later. Greeks, of course, opened the Greek nightclubs, New York, and I don't know who started first. I have no idea that part. A lot of people sent me articles and things dating from the 50s. But beyond that, I don't know about Greek clubs. And in New York, I know that there were even the Arabic clubs, and some of the bouzouki players or Greek musicians, they joined the clubs, and so they were able to play the Middle Eastern music. Actually, the Middle Eastern, not just the Greek, but adding a little bit of the bouzouki style to it. In California, when I started dancing, Greek was Greek, although they knew some of the older songs, and the songs that they brought from Constantinople, or they sang a lot of those. Ήθελα να ήμουν pasas, and I was telling you they can say shit, so they say pasas for pasha. I want to be a pasha, so I could have anyone I want, any of the girls from the harem, he picks. So I could have the youngest one serving me my coffee, so I could have this one do this and dance with their bodies and I don't know what, so those were the songs of way before my time even. I came to the United States when I was 8 only, so I didn't get to see much, especially in the island that I was from. So music-wise and things, not. I came to the United States to see this, from Greek picnics, they used to call them then, not festivals. They were picnics. And so the music played, dancers swayed. I was always kind of natural at just the club dancing, I'll call it, swaying the hips, and people liked it. And I like dancing, and that's how. So I think that the Greeks made belly dancing more popular because Greek restaurants, I think, were more popular than the Middle Eastern ones at that time, like in the 50s and into the 60s. And that's how I think the Greeks influenced belly dancing. They introduced it into the Greek restaurants and made it more popular, to people, to more people, I should say. Not that the Middle Eastern clubs were not there, they were. And those are the ones I really loved for belly dancing, of course. And I did get to dance at the Greek village with a famous Greek belly dancer called Bubuka. I didn't know at that time, though, that she had made films. She did one with Nobra, the other ones. And she's got quite nice moves, tight moves. Tight meaning, they were loose, but they were here. A little bit like what you do, but not as much as you do, but the core moves. So she did more of that. I didn't see her doing a lot of here and there movements. She was kind of confined. And a nice dancer, very sweet. And recently I found out, that's Bubuka. I know Bubuka, so it's nice to see dancers, kind of like seeing the Middle Eastern movies and watching the dancers. That's how that was. So that's how the Greek influence is small, I think, in comparison to especially now how we have brought the Middle East to our living rooms, more or less, and brought the dancers here, Tito, and I love Tito. And Aziza, I love her dancing too. I love, of course, Nagua Fuad I love her because she can dance on both sides. If you notice, especially the queen of princess of, what is it?
Cairo, Princess of Cairo.
Princess of Cairo. So she does this dum da da dum pa pa pum pa with that fan, with that NBC fan that she does. Well, it was probably choreographed for her, but she uses both hips equally well. She stretches her arms so high up and beautifully. I've seen a lot of videos of her because there are so many, that some, not my favorite of hers, but the Egyptian, the things she does, oh my God, I think she was so hot too when I don't know, my favorite really. But there's also
Rhonda.
I love Rhonda too. I saw her live too a few years back when Little Egypt brought them to LA. Yeah. And so, yeah, we're lucky to be able to see all these dancers. Nagua Fuad, I didn't see live though, just on her videos.
Oh, I got a chance to see her perform live once. And yeah, she just is such a striking presence. So she's one of those few people that can look like she's doing nothing on stage, right? And you're captivated. But she can also break like every rule and own it with such confidence that it's just amazing.
Because she's who she is. Nagua, of course, she can do anything and be good at it. So
your first professional performance, if I'm correct, you were 16 and got a chance to do the opening for the Athena restaurant.
The Athenian restaurant on Pico and Normandy, right by where the Greek church is, the beautiful Saint Sophia Cathedral. It's so gorgeous in there. Anyway, yes, that was where I started. I didn't have a costume. My teacher, again, my mentor, Fofo, took me there. And of course, they always ask the young girls to get up and dance with our finger symbols, of course. And I went and danced. So the manager at that time asked me to dance for their grand opening. And I said, I don't have a costume. And he took me, he was involved with Hollywood and a lot of, I don't know if he was an actor, what the heck he was. Tony Moreno, I think was his name. Anyway, so he took me to the studios to rent a costume. So what costumes do they have? He rented me this thing, barely a bra, and this kind of chiffon with this netting that looked like a fishing things that you fish with some, I don't know if it had sparkles on it of some sort, sequins or something. So the costume, you had to rent it for 3 days. So they told me to stay 3 days instead of that. By that time, my sister helped me to make some kind of a costume. And I wound up staying there for quite a while.
But you had to have a stage name.
Right, oh, that's right, you know about that. Yes, so this guy said, of course I can't be. At that time, my name was Helen, which Eleni. In Greek, my name is Eleni. Why didn't they call me Eleni? So they said when we came here through Ellis Island, they said Helen after. Why Helen? There are many versions of Eleni, Anyway, so he says, no, I'll call you Zoraida. Greeks love the name Zoraida. I go, fine. So I'm Zoraida there. Then I started dancing on weekdays at, I think it was Shaker's Oasis. So then they say, what's your name? I said, Zoraida. He says, no, I'll call you Shadia. I go, okay. So I'm Zoraida in one place, I'm Shadia in the other. I go to a third place to dance, and they go, what's your name? Shadia, to an Arabic place again. Shadia. No, no, no. I said, look, my name is Helena. Just call me Helena. No more names. If you let them name you, they'll give you 5 million names. Each person has a favorite name, you know. So that's how I got my own name back.
There you go. What was the importance of having a stage name at that time? It's something that we don't really see about that much anymore.
To make it more authentic and exotic, you know, to give people, because it does sound beautiful to say Zoraida all the way from, some musicians used to love to joke when they announced all the way from the dressing room. Those musicians. Anyway, so yeah, I think it just sounded more exotic than using.
I think the idea of somebody claiming identity can have a projection of expectation for the audience, but it may not make much of a difference, right? As to like, what uniqueness do they bring to the dance? That's way more interesting.
Yeah, to me, I see some that say they're from Cairo and their dance is like that because they've lived there a long time. So they have the same mannerisms and the same thing, which is a good thing. And they come and they teach all of us what they have learned from there. Although personally, I still, if you're you're from Egypt, okay, I can take from you when I know your personality and I know how you dance, but I'm taking it not because you're from there, I'm taking it because of your dance. You know what I mean? But if I want to learn, I want to go to the source, to the real source, the ones that were born with it, the ones that they breathe it, the ones that live it. All their lives from little to growing up, because this truly is their dance. I mean, it's here for them. They don't know otherwise. It's like them trying to do a lot of our dances that are here. Okay, they're good at it, but they still add that the Egyptian fight or the Egyptian fight, which is good because they can add that to the dance and it still doesn't look 100% ballet if they take ballet, or if they do a street dance, they still add their own thing there, which makes it still more Egyptian. Just like here, if we try to do the Egyptian, we do, where there, let's say they can do 40% what we do here and 60% what they do. Here we reverse it. So when you see what I like to do when I watch videos of dancers, sometimes I got in the habit of not putting sound so that I don't disturb my family or something, and I can still watch it. So by watching it, you can tell if a person looks like they're doing ballet, or if they're doing jazz, or if they're doing more Latin, or if they're doing whatever dance that they have, their default dance. You know what I mean? So this is how you can tell who is more authentic, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. And that's all it is, and we all have those.
Well, and along those lines, I do have to say that and acknowledge that you have always been so encouraging and open to the vastness of different styles and interpretations that there are in this community, and supportive in that type of way, that you are open with what your opinions are, but it never necessarily feels like a judgment, like something shouldn't exist because you don't like it.
Not are you kidding? There's so many dancers I love that don't do my style. I may be disappointed. I would say, oh, like Sylvia Salamanca that does more of the tribal, but she does this really acrobatic things with her sword, and I love her. But I tell her, oh, I go, I wish you did Oriental. I just know you. I said the first time I met you in Houston, I was so disappointed that you did only tribal. I wish you would do the Orient. I will try this. She said, you know, I was thinking of trying this. I will, but she wants to do it her own way, of course. And I know she'd be beautiful no matter what style she chose. So what, am I going to be judgmental in what she does? No, I enjoy her dance, actually. I enjoy it so much. And other dancers, as long as what you're doing is good, I like it. I may not consider it Oriental. And of course, Oriental to me is number one. But that's all I've known all my life, the Oriental, which flavoring, if you want to flavor it with Greek, with whatever we learned at the time, what Jamila Salimpour coined as cabaret style, which I don't like that name. It makes it sound weird, but I know what she meant. She was separating it from what they did in San Francisco in the festivals where they danced out like nomads, and our stage thing. And in that time, they were little cabarets. They were not theaters. Can I say a little story?
Yeah.
Mohammed Kazafi in Florida. So I was there, I taught a little bit of workshop, but he was one of the instructors. So he's from the Mahmoud Rida thing, right? So he was teaching us veil. So this poor girl asks him, but what do we do when we're dancing in the restaurant? How would we? He goes, restaurant? A restaurant? What is this restaurant? I don't dance in the restaurant. I dance in theaters, no restaurant. And I felt bad for her, but I just started laughing so hard to myself, and I've never forgotten the story. So you see different things. He was more from the theater thing, and we're thinking little cabarets and little, especially now, not even a high stage. It's only, if you're lucky, a dance floor or between tables or something. So that's also something to consider. She's trying to find out, poor thing, but I can't spread my arms out. How should I do it? But the poor thing must be, she felt so bad, I'm sure. But
that's something I talk about with my students, because we do have a very interesting demand that's very different than other dance styles, that sometimes we're in very intimate, close spaces with the audience where there's no differential between where the performance is and where the audience is. And then sometimes we're on these ginormous stages where you can't even see the audience because the lights are so bright and everything. And how we navigate all those spaces are very different, right? Like what we're using stage lights, how we're using our props, how we're using our arms, right? Don't dip your...
Right. And how things will look good. And, you know, the first of all, I was in Texas in the 70s. When I came back, the later 70s, you don't know how things had changed. Aubrey, it went from the cabaret style where we did floor work. I came back, I worked at the Athenian Gardens, and I did my floor work. But these Armenian guys were in the audience, they'd look at me like salivating or something when I did the floor work. I'm going, something is not right here, something is not right. This is not the way the people used to look at us. And I asked a dancer, I said, what's going on? What's going on? And I wish I remember the dancer's name, but I can't. She said, Helena, while you were in in Texas. Says everybody got Egyptian fight or something. They all went to Egypt and they all came back. And in Egypt, they don't do floor work. So nobody does floor work anymore. I go, oh my God. So except for the coin part, I stopped doing all that floor work, except just a little bit, on the knees right before I went down to do that. Or I would go in a back bend and then, head out. Those were the good old days. Back bends now. Anyway, so that's how, and they always loved, the Armenians loved the coin thing, they brought people to see it and all that. So I didn't want to fight. I would do my own thing, yes, because I believe you have to do that. But you can't fight all of them. If I'm the only one doing floor work, it's just going to look like I'm doing a nasty dance instead of what everybody else is doing. And I don't want these guys to look at me like, palpitating hearts and whatever the heck was going on. Yeah, that was not a pleasant feeling to be stared at that way. Down went floor work. That's it.
What other changes have you seen over the decades?
Oh, yes, I was talking about stages. And of course, now, when they ask me to, I was living in the 90s through for 14 years from 1990 in Arizona. So I was really out of it. I didn't know what was going on. I had just started learning how to use a computer and email and finding people go, oh my God, what is this? Oh my God, people I haven't seen in forever. Here they are. So that was a big change for me, because my daughter kept telling me, Mom, you got to get with the times. You've got to learn. So I surprised her. I went to these free college classes in Phoenix. And so I learned I can even type a little bit without looking, a little bit, no numbers. I didn't get to the numbers before I stopped. And anyway, so BDUC, Belly Dancer of the Universe, they had always asked me to go and judge. So finally I said yes. And so now, remember Vegas was 1966. Now I'm not used to, now it's 2000 something, 6, I think I started. So this big, I was scared. I was like, I didn't know, because I was used to working close to the people. So going up there, I don't know where to look. I don't like here. I don't know where to look. I look here sometimes, but I want to see your face. So I don't want to look here and act like, I say nowadays girls are born with the ability to be actresses and actors, or now it's female, male actors, sorry. And so I say now dancers, before they become dancers, they have videos out. I didn't know how, I still don't have videos out like instructional or anything like that. But yeah, those were big changes for me. So I'm on this stage, I'm like shaking, trying to act like I'm not, trying to act like I'm seeing people. And I saw so many people, like this guy falling asleep. I go, hey, wake up. No. So it's definitely different, and you have an audience there. Some are looking, some are not like how it was in a club. My mentor told me this, working in the clubs. She said, if you have one audience member's attention, you have the whole audience, but you have to know who is going to be that. And you want not the ones, hey, come over here. The drunks, stay away from those. Anyway, so she was so right with that. So you work for that one person that's kind of mesmerized. They're like, and then you worked around him more, not like exclusively, no, never do that. So you did that, and because that person was so mesmerized, he got the whole audience. They thought he was cute, and they would, laugh that you were able to get that reaction. And then you also, they feed off each other also. Besides, they feed off of me, I feed off of them, but they, as an audience, feed off each other. How that atmosphere. But I really, even up to today, I don't know how to work that stage crowd, if you know what I mean, especially without live music. In Vegas, I had the live music, and Harat Yakubian was so fantastic at organizing things. They built a ramp for me because I didn't do coins then. I didn't know how to do it yet, but I always used to do my belly rolls and flutters in that same prone position because I didn't know how to do standing up. So I didn't know how to do it. But the first time I felt my muscles was when I got tired of trying to do a standing up. I give up. So I lay down on the studio floor. I'm 15 years old now. And I said, I'm not giving up. Let me see if I can do it now. And that's when I started feeling the muscles. And I came up prone on my elbows, flat down, to see what I was doing. And that's how my belly rolls and flutters with an audience, playing with the audience started. Then Hamis Fino was his name. At the Shakers Oasis, oud player, sweetest man ever. He taught me so much. He led me to be a better dancer on that stage. He wore a fez with the big pantaloons and vest. And when he saw me doing my belly rolls down because that's the only way I could roll the belly down on floor. And I don't know how I learned to cross my feet so it looks good. He came down to me, knelt down, and was following what I was doing with my flutters, like, and then, and then I would come up and he still would be there and playing like kind of like a drum solo-ish thing on the oud sounds. And he paid so much attention to me. He was helping me because I wasn't that good of a dancer. You know what I mean? I thought I was, but when you're 16, you just think you're hot shit. It took me 5 years to realize how bad I was. So he was a big help to me. Thank you. I don't know if he's still with us or not, but yeah.
Well, and I love there was a story that you had on your website, which is full of amazing resources. So I hope everyone goes and checks that out.
Yes, Norma Westover wrote that for me. Oh my gosh, she was good. She's wordy. The right words, the way to write was nice.
And there was this great story of this older audience member who came to you and told you that you needed to work on your hands.
Like Marlisa Pons, she was really good because she used to do Hawaiian also. Yes, and I was so mad that he even told me that. So insulted. But of course, once I thought of it, I realized and I know I had asked, and the boss had asked Marlisa to help me with my dance. In those days, nobody really wanted to to help you that much, but I had asked her to teach me certain things. And she was an amazing, amazing dancer. I remember she did this, she had like a pillbox hat and heels, high heels. She was, I think, from New York originally, so they always wore shoes. Anyway, so she used to do a back bend and put her head down she used to do the most fantastic shimmies in that position. And she used to walk too. Yeah.
Wow.
They did little tricky things like that. Yeah. I was lucky. I got to see so many amazing dancers, and you learn from them. Okay, I remember what I said. I would not even try to do that she did, not only because I couldn't do it, but because that was her thing. We don't try to do another person's, you can call it trick if you want. I don't call it that. It's her unique part of her show. It's a unique artistic part. That's amazing. You go, oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, Helena, thank you so much for this time. It's been just such an absolute joy to get a chance to chat with you and get a little more background and understanding too.
Sure.
Some things to come as you get a chance to offer the Greek influence historical lecture at
Right. Oh, and I forgot to say though the one thing: the Greeks were in Egypt for 300 years. And so cultural exchanges there, you know how they say they see in Greece the frescoes, that they see dancers like with things. Who says that that wasn't part of that cultural thing, that they brought dancers from there? Or, I think they respected each other and the things they can learn from each other. I know the Greeks of that time let them have their own religious beliefs and things like that. They didn't interfere in that, from what I have. Wikipedia. So I'll have that information. And Cleopatra, who was Greek, Macedonian Greek, she was not Egyptian. And so she was the last pharaoh of Egypt. So I thought that was very interesting indeed, till Nasser came and kicked all the foreigners out. And was it 60s or was that before that? Yeah, so it was fair. I mean, I understand how he feels. He wanted it for his own people. That's good. All right, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't let you talk too much.
Great. It's so appreciated. You are an amazing treasure. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Aubre.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.